Question 11 then. F of x equals x cubed minus 7x squared minus 24x plus 18. Sketch the graph of the gradient function. Again, really important to read the questions carefully. It's not sketch the cubic, it's the gradient function y equals f dash of x. So you've got to differentiate it. Hopefully we've learnt how to do that. It's nicely already in a polynomial form. So we write down constant, 2 bring down power, 3 subtract 1 from the power. And we do all that after writing in kx to the n form. We've got to write it in the kx to the n form first. So, and that's been done for us here, so it's nice and easy. So f dash of x equals, write down the constant, there isn't one, or it's 1, bring down the power, subtract 1 from the power. Minus 7, that's the constant, bring down the power, subtract 1 from the power. So that's 1. Write down the constants, minus 24. X to the 0, when we subtract 1 out from it, is 1. So we just get minus 24. Or you can think of it as what is the gradient of the line minus 24x? That's minus 24. What's the gradient of y equals 18? That's a horizontal line, so that would be plus 0. So f dash of x becomes 3x squared minus 14x minus 24. And we're done. We've now got to sketch the graph. Well, that's a positive quadratic. And to sketch it, we really need to know the roots and the y-intercept and the turning point. And they're all things that we've been asked to find. So let's just say part A, at x equals 0, y equals negative 24. So that's our y-intercept. Roots, this really is part B, that we're going through here. So roots, 3x squared minus 14x minus 24 equals 0. Well, we're going to try and factorise that. So we're going to use our grid. 3x squared minus 24, so they must multiply to give 3 times negative 24 and add to give negative 14. 24 is 3 and 8. So we could have, or 24 and 3 doesn't going to make it. Let's split the 8 into 4 and 2. That looks more promising. 12 and 6, that's not great. How about 3 times 3 is not 18 and 4 looks like the best way. So I've ended up just cycling through these, looking at them. So we've ended up with 3, 3 and 2 to make the 18 and then the 4. And I can use those to make negative 14, so the 18 needs to be negative. Tick. So minus 18x plus 4x, 3 out as a factor, x minus 6 plus 4. So I've got x minus 6, 3x plus 4 equals 0. So x equals 6 or x equals negative 4 over 3. So we can now sketch the curve fairly easily. Go back to part A. And we've got a positive quadratic. We've got roots. So I'm drawing my graph first. 1. Whoops. So 1. Put my x-axis on second with the roots, which is negative 4 over 3 and 6. So I can now put my y-axis, it must be closer here. So there's my y-axis, and that's negative 24. Okay, so that went in third. Okay, now part C says to find the turning point. Now lots of ways of doing that. Completing the square, I know it's half the distance between -4/3 and 6. Number of ways I can use minus b over 2a. Lots of ways, but the way they've asked us to do it is using calculus. Find the coordinates of any turning point on the graph. So I've now got to differentiate f dash of x. Sorry, I've got to look at when the gradient is... Yeah, so I've got to differentiate f dash of x to find when the gradient of that graph is 0. So unusually, it's not when f dash of x equals 0. If we'd sketched this, then we would need f dash of x equal to 0 for the turning point. But we didn't sketch f of x. Yeah, we weren't asked to sketch this. We've been asked to sketch f dash of x. So to find the turning point of f dash of x, we've got to differentiate and find where that has a gradient of 0. So we need f double dash of x equal to 0. Unusually is the turning point. Yeah, it's really testing your understanding of what you're doing. So f dash of x is equal to 0. So that's f double dash of x is equal to 0. So f double dash of x. So well, let's write down f dash of x so we can see it here. That was 3x squared minus 14x minus 24. So f double dash of x equals 6x minus 14. So f double dash of x equals 0 when 0 equals 6x minus 14. So 14 over 6 equals x, which we will tend to write as 7 over 2. So this point here has an x value of 7 over 2. And we need to find the y value. Now again, you've got to think carefully. Yeah, you've got to remember that the graph we've drawn is this. Yeah, the graph we've drawn is this. That's that line. So to find the y value, we've got to substitute it into that line. So we've got 3x squared. So we need f dash of 7 over 2, which is 3 lots of 7 over 2 squared minus 14 lots of 7 over 2 minus 24. Again, you can just tap that in the calculator, but we're going to get 3 times 49 over 4 minus 98 over 2 minus 24. Looks like it's best to write these all over 4, so we're going to have 147 over 4 minus 196 over 4 minus 8096 over 4. So we've got in total 147 minus 292 over 4, which is equal to, again, it would be much easier on a calculator, 3 to make it 150, so it will be 153 minus 8 is 145 over 4, and that's negative. And label it on the diagram. You could simplify that down to whole numbers, so you're going to get 36 and a quarter, I think. Okay, but again, you can use a calculator if you need to. And that is it for that question. I suppose we should perhaps label it right down here as a coordinate, the turning point as well, just so it's clear, but it's on the diagram. 7/2 minus 145/4.